Hello and hello, 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 and welcome to the space between ideas. I'm Blaine Gates, and yeah, we've just been chilling like a villain, regular morning thing, just taking a look at the news, seeing what's going on in the world, catch up on some education, checking to make sure my audio works. Good, the audio works. I think what we'll do is we'll just share the. We have to share. Actually, we have to share the tab, otherwise we don't get the audio. All right, so I don't know why we got Tatiana's name up here. I'm gonna remove Tatiana. I think I'm gonna see her tomorrow. All right. So I talked about this yesterday, and maybe I should highlight something. Probably need to highlight this value proposition. And if we're talking about value proposition, then we're still on step one. And if we're still on step one, it means that we have not listed the value elements of our value proposition. All right, so it means we're doing customer research. And the best place to start is your established competitors. And of course, we want to go into this concept called how can we automate this process? Then, because we want to automate this process or build some tool or connect into content. Yeah, so we're talking about automating the process or building tools in order to accomplish this. So actually, one endeavor is likely that we need to automate the process of listing competitors and understanding the elements of their value proposition and wonder if there is a tool that can be built to do this. No. All right. So the thing is that, like, this is what they tell you to make when you first make your thing. When you do your first thing, then I don't know. They got some dashboard about tasks. This is a Kanban. Resource management. Looks like they could probably add widgets. I don't know what widgets do, but so it's giving you. I mean, look at this. It's simple, right? It's like my task, the owner, the status, the due date, the notes, files. This is exactly what's in my. I call it a scoreboard. This is a scoreboard. I'm guessing that you can like change the way that you view this information. But it's at the end of the day, like this is one element. All right. So the element is the scoreboard. So I could say that the scoreboard, this is an element of the value proposition. And you got Monday.com that provides that same element. Also, you got the what is it called? Trello. Wow, we did something today. I'm so happy. Now, the other thing is then, okay, I'm in the education process now with ClickUp. This is, I don't know, I don't really want to click the X. What is this page? It looks like inbox.
Let's dive into a feature you'll probably check first thing every morning and last minute every night. I'm speaking, of course, about your beloved inbox. Let me show you how it works. Inbox is separated into 4 sections. Each notification forecast. The forecast notification projects you're active, actively working on. You can put a notification to respond to it, or send it to a notification task. Or chat, get more details. Any tab, just notification for any changing tasks for your watcher. There's news tabs, notifications to use for anytime. You must use notification at any point or right here. And speaking of things, clear tabs for all notifications for the past 30 days. But what do I want to notifications for today? Just a quick way. You can customize the layout of your departments. You never sound any important. The inbox is one-stop shop. Stay updated, communicate, go there all day, or what you want to.
Yeah, okay. So they got an inbox. Wonderful. get started. Okay, here we go. So I can see what? I can see tasks. I can see assigning. What is this? This is monday.com. All right. So like ClickUp also has this thing. Now what? But ClickUp is saying it has other stuff. Like what other stuff does it have? I just watched those. Okay, it looks like I can connect to other apps. You can manage your hierarchy, calendar, brain. One question I have is, what's AI? What is their AI going to do? Ask about your list, executive summary. See, the issue is like, I want to know, ask, where do I type? Ask about your list. Is there a hierarchy over to features? I don't see a place for typing anything. Search, ask everything. ClickUp brain. Okay, is there any overdue tasks? No overdue tasks in the project. All right, where do I? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, they're in the way actually. Okay, what tools are there for recording meeting minutes? And how do you help me to figure out what work needs to be done? You can create structured meeting notes, share them with your team. Meeting note taker. But do you provide questions that I can use when I talk to my team? All right, so there's an AI. Okay, so this AI is actually, it's not saying that there's some intrinsic thing within the ClickUp environment. It's saying that we have a AI chatbot attached to our system, and likely we're going to be able to use that chatbot. Okay, there you go. However, I can only retrieve and view documents when you ask me to find, summarize, rest, and I don't automatically scan everything in your workspace. All right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what I should do to think about this, but the point is reviewing other products and their features. And so we need to have a list of our competitors. We need to learn how to use our competitors' products. And eventually we have to figure out how to connect our product with competitors' products. We're going to do that slowly over time. And I asked like when I'm going to have more credits and at what time. It says that it happens at the coordinated universal time. Now it says you'll receive your message credits at midnight UTC. This is a daily reset. You're currently out of credit. So we actually did pass that because it's now 7:36 coordinated universal time. So we did pass that 7.5 hours ago. But anyway, so tomorrow we'll check back, see if we have any more credits. I'm not really sure what's going on with Bolt. I suppose I could ask the same question. Your answer will give us a tailored bold needs and gives. What? Okay. Describe my role. Say I'm a product manager. My workplace. I'm a beginner. It's myself. No, I'm launching a business. And build, launch an app. Quickly build an example, prototype. All right, now I got 1 million tokens. All right, so we'll come back to this tomorrow. Now, so where are we in general? I have all these markdown files, so I can easily train. I should use the word calibrate. I can calibrate AI to be prepared to help me with my little product journey. I'm trying to build a prototype. I actually have 2 windows right now that are both primed to be able to help me. Yesterday, we added the brand calibration. Now, I didn't add the brand calibration for the other page. So for right now, and we have a prompt ready for Lovable. What is this? Okay, there's a comment scenario. Okay, we're not going to do this because we need Lovable to be able to do this, and we're not ready to pay for Lovable. So we're not going to do this. It has the first prompt for each of those windows. And I only have like 4 more days left for my Gemini Advanced subscription. I'm thinking about changing to Claude because there's a little tool I want to test with Claude with the MCPs. And I'm trying to, I mean, I do have realistic budget restraints, but I think it's also more useful if we kind of have some budgetary restraint because, you know, a large amount of users, potentially people who are going to be looking at my website, my YouTube channel, are likely people who are trying to figure out how to do this stuff on, on a budget. So, so the thing is, I don't really want to do this right now. What I really want to talk about is database. I want to talk about databases. I mean, we could do this. All right, I got one question, but I kind of want to do this, but at the same time, I don't want to do this. So it's asking me to put in this prompt. It can go back to this prompt. So how much longer do you envision that all the text in this chat will be within your context window based on current usage patterns? And when do you think you'll start summarizing earlier posts? I need to change my microphone. I'm just changing to the microphone on my computer. So, I don't know. What do you want to do today? I kind of want to talk about databases. within the next major planning cycle. When we get into sprint 2, several dozen more detailed implementation feedback messages. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Right, I switched it to my other mic, so I think I don't need to type anymore. Okay, now, so it looks like that before each sprint, we're going to need to get another markdown file so that we have some direction that can be applied to opening a new context window in order to begin the next sprint. Before sprint 2, during our sprint planning phase. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that already. Yeah, it keeps wanting to go back to this process. Well, I got one more question about the database. I know that you don't really want to talk about the database right now, but I could tell you that based on our experience together, we've been using the modules like Brainstorm and Choose and Objectives, and we haven't actually been using TouchBase and Scoreboard. And we've talked about the different projects, and we have a bunch of different methodologies to calibrate the way that you understand and work within this environment. You could say that my experience with you has been a process of prompt engineering, and I've created a framework of prompts that enable you to do the work that I hope that you'll be able to do according to the prompts that I've given you. Now, the reason that you're able to do this work is because you have a giant context window, and you're able to look at all of the different concepts and ideas that we've been discussing and the different prompts since the beginning of this chat window. Now, I've also introduced to you this idea of a database, and you've talked about that database. When we talk about creating an actual app, I mean, it makes sense that the reason that we have the app is so that people can go through the modules and then use those modules in order to get work done. And those modules help people to think about what needs to be done. So it helps people to define endeavors, also to discuss the vision of an endeavor, and then to talk about what objectives are going to need to be done in order to complete projects. And then it breaks it down into smaller and smaller parts. And particularly, it helps people to accomplish tasks. Accomplishing tasks in the scoreboard will complete objectives. Objectives completed makes a project complete, and a project complete drives a company forward. And because of your huge context window, you're able to understand all of those things, and you're able to keep all of that information within your mind at the same time. And so the reason for producing an application is because the database is actually going to keep that information. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just wondering, do we need to discuss database principles and talk about database theory and talk about different structures of databases even before we begin to design this application? And maybe there's actually a different way to create this application rather than our current process. I got another meeting in 20 seconds. Well, anyways, I'm going to open up the other window for my meeting. And they already sent me the Google Meet link 3 minutes ago. I'm going to okay my camera, allow this time. And all right, let's do a listen and then I'll jump into that meeting.
That's a really sharp observation. You've drawn an insightful parallel. My large context window allows me to hold the structure, relationships, history, and goals of our project in mind, which is precisely the function the application's database is intended to provide for your end users regarding their projects and module outputs. The app essentially externalizes and structures that memory and process tracking. Given this parallel, you're asking a fundamental question. Should we pause and dive deeper into database principles, theory, and alternative structures before we even start coding Sprint 1? Could a different perspective on data modeling fundamentally change the application or our process? It's a valid question. Here's my perspective, acting as your architect and co-PM. 1. Database design is critical and planned. You are absolutely right that database design is crucial. A well-designed database is the backbone of the application. Our current plan explicitly includes database design as a core part of Sprint 1. Tasks like define initial Prisma schemas and generate and apply initial Prisma migration are precisely where we translate our understanding of the required entities, users, projects, modules, tasks, and their relationships into a concrete database structure using our chosen tool, Prisma, and database, PostgreSQL. We'll be applying database principles like normalization, relationships, data types during that process. 2. Requirements should drive design. Generally, in application development, the user requirements, core methodology, and desired workflow should drive the design, including the database structure. We've spent significant time defining what the app needs to do, the modules, the workflow, and who it's for. The database structure should support this functionality effectively. Starting with abstract database theory without grounding it in these specific application requirements risks creating a technically elegant database that doesn't efficiently serve the user's workflow or the application's core purpose. 3. Chosen model fit. Based on the entities and relationships we've discussed, users own projects. Projects contain module instances. Module instances contain tasks. The relational model, PostgreSQL, which we selected and for which you provided a solid starting schema, appears to be a very natural and appropriate fit. It handles structured data and relationships well. While other models exist, like graph databases, document databases, they don't immediately present obvious advantages for the core structure as we've defined it so far. 4. Iterative approach. Our plan to build the schema iteratively within sprints allows us to refine it as we implement features. We start with the core tables in Sprint 1 and can add fields, indexes, or even related tables in later sprints as needed, based on the features being built. This avoids over-designing upfront. Conclusion and recommendation. While your reflection on the database's role is insightful, I believe our current plan remains the most effective path forward. We are prioritizing database design by tackling it directly in Sprint 1, but we're doing so based on the application requirements and workflow we've already carefully defined. Diving deep into general database theory now, before implementing the basics, might lead to analysis paralysis or abstract designs disconnected from the app's core purpose. We have a solid starting schema and a plan to implement it using robust tools, PostgreSQL, Prisma. Therefore, I recommend we proceed with starting Sprint 1 as planned. We will absolutely be thinking about database principles and best practices as we execute the tasks related to defining and implementing the schema using Prisma. Are you comfortable with this approach, continuing with step 1 of Sprint 1?
Sure. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.